Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before. Christ the royal master leads against the foe. Forward into battle, see his banners go. Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before. Oh, for a faith that will not shrink, though pressed by every foe, that will not tremble on the brink of any earthly woe, that will not murmur or complain beneath a chastening rod, but in the hour of grief or pain will lean upon its God. A faith that shines more bright and clear when tempests rage without, that when in danger knows no fear, in darkness feels no doubt. Lord, give us such a faith as this, and then whatever may come, we'll taste and hear the hallowed bliss of an eternal home. A charge to keep I have, a God to glorify, a never-dying soul to save, and fitted for the sky, to serve the present age, my calling to fulfill. Oh, may it all my powers engage to do my Master's will. Arm me with jealous care, as in thy sight to live, and o thy servant, Lord, prepare a strict account to give. Help me to watch and pray, and on thyself rely. Assured if I my trust betray, I shall forever die. Rise up, O men of God, have done with lesser things. Give heart and mind and soul and strength to serve the King of Kings. Rise up, O men of God, his kingdom tarries long. Bring in the day of brotherhood and end the night of wrong. Rise up, O men of God, the church for you doth wait. Her strength unequal to her task, rise up and make her great. Lift high the cross of Christ, tread where his feet have trod. As brothers of the Son of Man, rise up, O men of God. Boy, you cut it close. Hey, good evening. Let's edify one another, shall we? Welcome again to another episode of Studying to Show Ourselves Approved. Workmen that needeth not be ashamed, handling aright the Word of God. That's what we strive for here. And we are in our studies of beginning at the beginning, that is, studies of Genesis. And we pick up this evening. Hi, CJ, by the way. You're the only one here, so hello. I guess it'll be you and me for a while. We pick up our study tonight, actually not in Genesis 25 where we left off, but it is a review. So I'm debating whether just to sit here and chat for a moment or two and let people come in, or, well, they've had 5 minutes to get in here, so let's get started. See how much you remember of the last 5 chapters. Genesis chapters 20 through 24. And I'll be picking a few questions throughout here. And let's see. Don't forget to type. All right. Question number 1.
Can I answer or no?
Yeah, because, well, now Sister T's joined. Go ahead. Yes. Absolutely. Otherwise, it'll be a pretty dull class. Hey, Sister T. We're covering Genesis chapters 20 through 24 by question as a review of what we have studied. So I hope you've got your thinking cap on. I hope you have your notes handy, Sister T. If not, well, let's see how much we picked up. How did Abimelech learn that Sarah was Abraham's wife? Revelation from God, says CJ. You cheated. You looked in the book.
What book?
The Bible, the one with all the answers, of course.
No, I didn't open the Bible. What is weird is why is it only on YouTube that I responded?
You didn't. You responded on Facebook.
Mine says only YouTube.
I have it on both.
Interesting.
See?
What? Okay. I was
See, that's what Teresa was doing. She was checking the book. She's checking the answer book.
Did she comment something?
She said that's what I was doing.
I don't see that either.
CJ, I thought you were here in stream with me.
I am.
Are you really?
In my comments, I have a hi family, hi, revelation from God, and that's it.
You might want to refresh.
Yeah, I'll be back.
Now, here you go. Bonus question, Teresa. What verse? Hello, Sam.
Hey, I missed the bonus question. What was that?
Oh, no. We got to let Sister T have the bonus question.
Oh.
You already got the main points. Not that there's any points going on. Sam, we're covering Genesis chapters 20 through 24 as a review, and I'm going to be asking a few questions from my lesson here and see what we might remember. So feel free to answer, and there are no points, so we aren't grading it. The first question was, how did Abimelech learn that Sarah was Abraham's wife? And CJ answered, revelation from God. And I asked the bonus question for those who didn't answer. Hey, Sister Debbie, what verse did God reveal that Sarah was Abraham's wife to Abimelech?
Is this open Bible? Or not?
Is this what?
Open Bible?
Of course it's open Bible. I think you're going to find it's a little earlier than that, Sister T. Debbie Wise said, I just walked in. No pop quiz, please. No. This is no pop quiz. It's just a review. We've been here already. And we have it right here on the screen. Genesis 20, verse 3. God came to Abimelech in a dream by night and said to him, Behold, thou art but a dead man, for the woman which thou hast taken, she is a man's wife.
You know, I was going to say revelations from God by dream, but I wasn't sure if that was right. And apparently it was. Should have trusted my instincts.
How about one that's a little bit newer? Where was Sarah buried? You're right, Debbie. Abram wanted Sarah to call him sister, his sister, to say that she was his sister. What are you doing? Shua. She's using the cultivator to help O'Shea till the garden. Well, CJ, make sure you give them a chance to actually answer a little bit, okay? Just give them a minute or so. Not that you can't answer. Just give them a minute. Off.
That's right. I do get the advantage of like 30 seconds.
So you got to give them time.
Sorry.
What's the other question? Our first question, Debbie, was how did Abimelech learn that Sarah was Abraham's wife? And CJ, I'll show you the answers, and that was CJ had it with revelation from God, and that was in Genesis 20, verse 3. When I teach this class for the young adults or the young kids, rather, the teenagers, I make them go through and actually provide me with the book, chapter, and verse. Well, not the book, but since we're already in Genesis, but with the chapter and verse. Hello, Reba. Teresa says, Cave of Machpelah, Genesis 23, verse 9. And is it 9 or 19? That was a result, yes. But this is how, right here on the screen, we have God coming to Abimelech in a dream and telling him that she was another man's wife. You know, I should actually have put this. No, I have to change the camera angle.
So, yeah, I'm trying to get the study to show yourself approved, but I can't get it.
Well, I can help you out there.
Can I get it?
How's that?
Is that too small?
I mean, I did actually succeed, and I actually had to adjust my
got it.
e-sword. No worries, Debbie. No worries. I'm not actually forcing anybody to give me book, chapter, and verse, but if you got it, it's bonus points. Let me go looking at 23, verse 9 and 11 real quick. My answer has a different verse, but I'll look and see what you got. That's where he organizes or arranges to buy it so that he can. In 23 verse 9, he asks that Ephron might give him the cave of Machpelah for money. In other words, so that he can buy it. Verse 11, and Ephron wants to give it, and Abraham says, no, I want to buy it. But verse 19 is where we're at. Are you ready? You want to see my phone?
Tell Amos that he can have Ron pick it.
Well, I already told him that. But Amos is going to return it himself because he has a bunch of tools and other things too. Okay.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready for the judgment day?
I'm glad to hear that, Sean. Let's do this. I think I know what your question you're referring to, Sean.
Well, if I hadn't known that, I wouldn't have unhooked it.
Pat gives us the detailed history of that one. I have a whole bunch of questions. I should actually write these up so we got banners. I'll have Alicia do that for me next time. Who was the king of Gerar? Phicol, Abimelech, or Zohar? Thank you, CJ. Hello, Skylar. There we go. CJ says it's number 2, Abimelech.
Hey, I didn't say it with that much confidence. I said Abimelech. So don't
Pat says
fall.
Abimelech. Teresa says number 2, which is Abimelech.
Oh no, I've led you down a dark path. Maybe.
Do we have a verse? Does anybody have a verse for that? Does anyone's congregation participate in Bible bowls? That's all right, Pat. We don't care. We're not giving. We're not. We're not taking points away from for spelling. Sean and Teresa says, "There's don't." Sam says, "Trying to wake up. I better get some coffee." Reba says, "Yes, good." The Bible Bowls are extremely a really good tool to help young people get into the Bible, and even older Christians, people have been Christians for a while, or even young Christians who are older. Hey, Heather. It's you have a congregation who puts on a Bible Bowl, and other congregations in the area come together, and it is basically kind of like a spelling bee, but it is all about questions. And of course, it's kind of a competition between congregations, and it's a fun way, a day of fellowship and friendly competition. And I know that there used to be one here in Iowa. I don't know if they still do it or not. I'll have to check into that. But it's a really good way where the congregation that's hosted put on sends out a notice saying, okay, this is the topic, or this is the area that we're studying, and for the Bible Bowl, this is where the questions are going to come. This is the version that we're studying from. All questions are going to come from, and then boom.
My aunts, my cousins do that. The aunts that I'm going to spend 6 weeks with, their kids do Bible Bowl every year. They have a lot of fun, and I love it.
It is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
You know it,
Go ahead.
Sean. You know it, Sean.
We love you too. Pain that we are, or I mean, you are. Abraham's servant took 6, 8, or 10 camels when he went for Isaac's wife. Reba says 10. Oh, by the way, I forgot to show it. I think someone did have, CJ had the verse. And yeah, CJ had the verse for the last one. So there you have it. Abimelech, king of Gerar. So Reba says 10. Samuel says 8. Abraham's servant took 6, 8, or 10 camels when he went for Isaac's wife. CJ says 24 verse 10, and it was 10. So let's go look. Why are we counting camels? Why did the Bible include the camels? Don't know. We just want to make sure we are actually, Sam, simply checking to see if you were paying attention during the text. Were you? Teresa's like 10. I'm taking notes from now on.
Yeah. Yeah. See, this is secretly not only a quiz, it's the teacher's way of saying, I gotta get everybody to pay attention to me. So this week's like a coy week to say, hey, pay attention.
Well, actually, it's the teacher's way of saying, am I teaching?
Right, yeah.
Because if I'm not teaching, if you're not retaining the lessons, then I'm not teaching.
Right.
Sometimes it's the teacher's fault, sometimes it's the student's fault, and sometimes it's both.
Right.
Pat says we used to have singings where each congregation would sing to see who sang the best, judged by a panel of 3 men. It was fun, either a group or a quartet from each congregation, followed by punch and cookies and coffee and other finger foods. Now we always had area-wide singings where we would get together at different congregations and sing and do nothing but sing for an hour to 2 hours. But unfortunately, with the closing of congregations and the distance increasing, that's kind of gone by the wayside.
By the way, is there any spiritual significance to 10 camels?
Nope.
Or is it just a fact of...
Nope.
I didn't think there was.
No, and basically the only reason that it's included in there is to show the wealth of Abraham. That's literally all it was. All right. Here's a good question. I'll type it in here. Oops, it might help if I actually was trying to post it in the comment. Give him time, CJ. Give him time. Sam says yes. Sean says Sean is sitting on the fence. There's no fence in the Bible that you can sit on, Sean. It's either yes or no. Where you grew up, there were probably 20 churches about 30 to 45 minutes apart. When I was growing up, there was probably... I would say there was probably about 10 to 12 churches within an hour drive of each other. And now there is 3, 4. Well, it's either yes or it's no, Sean. Do we have a verse? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's fine. These ones are, CJ. It's fine. You say yes because he talked and walked with God, but I say no because nothing in general says that he was a prophet. If I'm wrong, correct me, please. Do we have a verse?
I think it's in the account of Abimelech, right? In 23, 20? I know it's with Abimelech somewhere.
20 verse 7. And ladies, do not hesitate. Don't let the men run roughshod over you. Come on. Welcome back, Teresa. So, what's your answer, Sean? Oh, I see. Hey, Heather, thank you for making us part of your drive. There we go. There's the question, Teresa.
We don't like YouTube.
Nah,
Okay.
it doesn't matter. I usually go. Anyway, I usually hit the Facebook first. Was Abraham a prophet? Genesis 20, verse 7. Now, therefore, restore the man his wife, for he is a prophet. And he shall pray for thee, and thou shalt live. And if thou restore her not, know thou that thou shalt surely die, thou and all thine house, or all that are thine. So yes, he was a prophet. All right. Ooh, I got a couple more good ones. Fill in these blanks. Whoops. Might help again if I was actually.
If I knew you were going to review, I would have typed up the questions beforehand. Sorry.
So would have I, if I had been on the ball.
Instead, you swung and missed the ball. Well, actually, if you would have been on the ball, you probably would have went splat if it was thrown on a wall.
All right. That's what we're here for, Sean, is to learn, right? So, fill in the blank. Rebecca took her blank and her blank and followed the servant to become Isaac's wife. You will find the answer in Genesis chapter 24. Hey, I'm going to use that one as the last one.
Can we know the version the question was taken from? Does it
I
really
don't think it
matter?
matters.
Okay. So it's not a quote?
Nope.
Okay. That's where I'm going wrong.
If it was a quote, it would have quotation marks around it. All righty. It is in Genesis 24. And I'll even give you a hint into the general location. It's toward the end of the chapter.
Well, thanks, Levi. It's so helpful.
You're welcome.
How about a verse number?
Well, I did give you that answer. Oh, yes. Last week. Boom. Where did Shay go? I thought he was going to till the garden. Ay, ay, ay. Yes, these are review questions. Why is it a dumb question? I asked it. Okay. One blank is found in this one, in verse 59. And her nurse. Not sister, Sam. Not sister. Oh, okay. Her nurse. They sent away their sister. So they sent away Rebecca, their sister. So, Laban sent away Rebecca and her nurse. And then 61. So Rebecca took her nurse and her maids or damsel. That's right. So Teresa and Reba have it.
I was thinking, what did Rebecca physically take with her, like items? And still, so did Rebecca ask the damsel and the nurse to go with her?
No.
So how did Rebecca take the damsel and the nurse? Maybe
what you need to remember, CJ, is that we are dealing with slaves, servants, who have no choice. Her nurse was a family slave. Her maidens were family slaves. Slavery was a big part of the culture. You're right, Sam.
So, how did Rebecca...
No, Sean, that's Rachel. That's not Rebecca.
Sorry, I'm trying to understand the mindset of the question. They went with her, but how is that Rebecca taking them?
um, because that was part of her entourage. She could have gone with no nurse or no maidservant, right? Instead, she took them with her. If she hadn't have taken them, they would have remained in her parents' house as part of their home.
So it is a matter of Rebecca saying, "I want my nurse and my sister." Or
Regarding the nurse, her mother and father and brother basically sent the nurse with her. So there is a possibility that, yes, she said, I want her. And then the damsels were probably all, and I'm reading a lot into this, but as a maid of means, as in a damsel of means, a lady of means, if you will, the damsels, maidservants, those were probably already hers, given to her by her father to help care for her. Rebecca's not, how do I put it? I mean, they were servants of the household, but and until she became of marrying age, and she was still required to do things and help in the house, as you see her go out and get the water. But once she became betrothed, then they, as part of their bride, as their presents to the bride, gave the nurse and the damsels to her to take care of her. Does that make sense? This was part of their parting present to the bride.
right,
In later times, of course, we see it nowadays in marriages where we give the bride presents, the bride and the groom presents, such as, a blender or a vacuum. Well, we know that's typically not to the man, that's usually for the woman.
right.
That's a holdover from earlier days of our culture. Now, of course, it's transitioning to where it can go either or. But, well, way back in those days, it was servants that were given. Yes, she had clothing. Yes, she had, but the clothing, most of the clothing and the day-to-day necessities, once she became betrothed, that was up to her husband to be. And so they would give, in Jewish culture, they would, and in a lot of these other cultures, they would give things like chickens and cows and goats. And well, here in Haran, they gave maidservants and damsels.
I guess the word taken was throwing me off because that implies she actively grabbed something, right?
Well,
Or could that be it was given and then she accepted? She allowed them to come with?
I think you're making a big deal over one simple word.
I am overthinking this question.
You really are. They sent her away with them, and look at this. Rebecca rose and her damsels, and they rode. So they went with her regardless. It was because they were hers.
Sorry.
And we also understand in slavery, with the way slavery works, you are property. If you are a slave, you are property. That's why there's such a big problem in Christianity with slavery, because Christianity recognizes people's basic human rights. Slavery does not. And so we today have that the concept of slavery is foreign to us, because of that aspect. We recognize man's basic God-given human rights. They didn't. If you were sold into slavery, if you were a slave, you didn't have rights. You were property. Servant is a different matter than a slave, because a servant is a paid position. Slavery, your property. Question number next. What did Abraham say when asked, where is the lamb for the burnt offering? Yes, CJ, go ahead.
I was going to say my overthinking is done. Sorry. Were you like, what are you doing?
That's why we are considered bond servants, Sam, because we choose to be property of Christ. There's a difference between servants, bond servants, and slaves. So we willingly enter into that slavery, if you will. That's what bond servant is. We still receive a payment, as it were, not because of anything we've done, but because he decides to give it to us. Reba says, God will provide. The Lord will provide, says CJ. Verse? Maureen, good to see you, sister. Sam says, God will provide. Heather puts up the song, Pierce My Ear, O Lord my God, as the bondservant idea. Maureen says, he said, God would provide himself a lamb. Amen. Don't think so. I'm hiding this one. Oh yeah, you're right. 22:8. Never mind. I was looking at the blank next blank. That's the topic for a different day, different class, Sean. Bondservant, servant, and slave. By the way, the Greek word's the same for all three. Doulos, if you're wondering. Yes, Psalm 22, verse 8, the Lord said, Abraham said, my son, God will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they both both of them together. Final question. Well, maybe not. I was going to try to get into a little bit of, I can still get into a little bit of the next section. Where did Isaac first take his bride? Oh, sorry. Thank you. Reba says in his mother's tent. Sam says to his mother's tent, I think. And Teresa provides Genesis 24:67. CJ says in his mother's tent. Let's see if Sister T has the right verse. and whether or not that is correct. 2467. Hey, Sheila, good to see you. And she says yes to his mother's tent. And Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent and took Rebekah, and she became his wife. And he loved her, and Isaac was comforted after his mother's death. So yes. Good review, guys. Oh, how about one final question? I gotta include this one. This is going to throw you all for a loop. This is the extra question on my lesson here. Another fill in the blank. Actually, it won't. You guys are going to get this one right off the bat. I had to type it, CJ, or Sean. CJ. It's called Sean CJ. Blank said, even as blank obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord. It is found in blank. Give him time, CJ. He's chomping at the bit. I know he's champing at the bit. Okay, Maureen says Sarah for the second blank. And she doesn't know the verse. Sean says, I think I may have spoken too soon. Like I've never done that before. Maureen, you're on the right track. It is, even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord. And it is. But who said it? If you know who said it, you know what book it's found in. Sam says, God as Sarah, and verse I know not. Well, God is the author, ultimate author, yes. But CJ says Peter, Sarah, and chapter 3 of what? And you better get this one right, CJ. We only had this in one of our evening edification gospel meetings.
I still got it wrong. There's no book of the Bible called Peter.
that peer or payer?
Repair.
Sam's like, oh, you left Genesis. That's why I missed the boat. That's why it's an extra, Sam. 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 6, even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord. The reason that we went over here briefly is because this adds veracity or validity to the Genesis account. If God is inspiring Peter to write about Sarah and Abraham, then we know for a fact that that account is true and accurate. All right, so anybody have any other questions, comments over Genesis chapters 20 through 24? Well, you should now. Sister T. Peter said Sarah, and it was found in 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 6. Funny, Sam. And that's not found in Genesis chapters 20 through 24. Oh. Well, Teresa, you're in good company. Sam was there with you. CJ says a good review. Thank you. Reviews are important to us to ascertain how much we are retaining of any text that we are studying. And it's a good thing to go over in our personal study as well as in our public studies. Because if we're not retaining what we are studying, then our study is not providing us any profit. If we're just skimming through something and read it, then we're just reading it. We're not studying it. And so it's important to go through every once in a while and just take a time to review what we've learned. It also, in this type of a format, adds a bit of humor, a bit of levity, and lightens and allows us to let off a little steam and take a break from intense study, and then we'll go ahead and get back into it next week, because CJ has determined that I have 6 weeks to finish Genesis, so we're going to jump in with both feet. And
That's right.
In 6 weeks.
You got a blood torch on you now.
Well, Teresa, I do hope and pray that you will be able to join us, because, I like to have y'all's participation, and it encourages me. And I know that when CJ's teaching or when Nick's teaching, it encourages them as well to have participation. We'll do it anyway, but the extra questions, the participation in there it really fuels us and gives us that impetus to continue in our studies. So please come join us. We are beginning chapters 25 next week, starting in Genesis 25:1. The next section is 25 through 29. We might do 2 sections. I don't know. We'll see how far we get in 25. I'm hoping to cover at least 2 chapters, so 25 and 26 out of the next one. You can see how many chapters we got. We got 50 chapters in 6 weeks. That's going to take us quite a bit.
Well, in all seriousness, don't rush a good study. You're doing a good job.
Thank you.
I can just hold my horses. You may not get the summer, but hey. or I don't know, you may teach through the summer.
May. Sheila asks if we have any suggestions on retaining book, chapter, and verse. I can repeat words and meanings, but not where to find it in the Bible. A lot of times, mnemonic devices are a really big part of learning anything. Now, what do we mean by mnemonic devices? For me, it's music. So for me, I would be using some sort of a music to learn what it is. For example, on the days of creation, there are many different songs that will help you learn what went on each day. Day one, God made light when there was none. Day one, God made light when there was none. So that's a mnemonic device, and that's just a fancy word for saying memory device, used to hook events or things to your mind or to each other in your mind using music. And so there's that. Sometimes you can hook events to verses. We have, for example, right here on the screen, we have 25:1. Abraham takes a second wife, Keturah. We had 24 verse 61, where, or excuse me, 24:67, where Isaac marries Rebecca and takes her to the tent. Find a way find a mnemonic device of some sort that you identify with that will tag an event with a verse. And when you can do that, then you'll find it's easier to remember book and chapter and verse. Genesis is the book of beginnings. You have beginning of creation, you have beginning of man, you have the beginning of sin, you have the first flood, the first murder, the first, and so it's a book of firsts. Heather uses the same, the mnemonic device of music like I do. See you in a bit, Sister T. Sean says they've studied Genesis for 2 years in Bible class. Reba says, nay, TJ. So I mean that's things that I use, mnemonic device. Heather throws a YouTube playlist is that for jingles, Heather? Sam likes to study ahead of time so he comes prepared. Go ahead, CJ.
I clicked on it, and it's Christian Evidences and Memory Work. So,
Another thing that I use as well is this is for the class, from my class, is something that Glenn and Cindy Colley developed for kids. And I'm trying to see if I have where I have it put. Must not be in this one. Where did I put it? You know, I made my own. I made it up. I took it, downloaded it, and put it together into a Word document. But, but they, and I believe they still have it for a free link on their website. Let me see. I'll just post her actual website so you can look for it. Cancel that. No. I need to go over to a different website, a different tab. Boom. Okay. It is listed under the KidSing here. Yeah, I'm going to just post it here for everybody as well. KidSing is one of the way, and then they have like orange and blue and green, or they have several different cards that they use to for kids to help them learn, and they go over them every week. They spend like 5-10 minutes at the front of the auditorium, and Glenn goes over them with the kids of the congregation, and it's basically a question and answer, and the kids and even members of the congregation get in on this, learning where it is in the Bible and things like that. And it's a fun little mnemonic device to help them understand or find where it is in the Bible. And I use that in our Bible classes as well. I will send that to you in a messenger link if I can. I don't think I have you on. Maybe I do. I do. There you go. So yeah, there you go. There's that one. Also, Apologetics Press. Sign up for their homeschool and Bible class teacher account. It's free, and you can access their Bible class material. They have a music book there. It doesn't have the notes or anything like that, but it does have some examples for most of the songs for you to what's the word I'm looking for you to be able to hear what they're singing, what it's supposed to sound like. And so that should help you as well. apologeticspress.org. And so some good ones there. So I hope that helps. Thank you all for being here and for joining me on this. I loved the review. I love the interaction. Thank you so much. It's been great. As you go through your daily life, we hope that this has encouraged you to continue your studies in the scripture, because we as Christians are to study to show ourselves approved. 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 15. We are not seeking to be approved by men, but by God himself. And to do that, we must handle aright the word of truth. And the only way that we can do that is to study to show ourselves approved. I'll see you next time. God bless in your walk with him. Love you.